Okay, so I want to explain this movie as quickly as possible. This movie starts off with John Cena, who's a Marine, and he's in combat in Iraq. His team gets captured, and he has the opportunity to kind of ambush the enemies and save his team. But his commander told him to stand down and wait for support. He tells him it's no time. He goes in Rambo mode, saves his team. He gets dishonorably discharged from the Marines. He goes work for a security company, gets into an altercation, throws a guy through a window at his job, gets fired, comes home. His wife is like, "Oh, babe, it's all right. You know what? We need a vacation. Let's go somewhere for the weekend." So they hit the road and they stop at a gas station, getting ready to go on this vacation. And there's a set of criminals that are at this gas station. These criminals had previously robbed a jewelry store for some diamonds. So these jewelry thieves are at this gas station buying chips, filling up the gas tank on a Cadillac, and mind their own business. There's a police officer pulls up right behind the leader of this group who's filling up the gas tank, asks him some questions, but it's not even anything incriminating. He's just small talking him. One of the members of this group walks up behind the officer, shoots him in the head. Everybody else starts shooting up everybody else at the gas station. One of the ladies shoot the gas station owner, then they blow the gas station up. And in the midst of all of this, they realize, oh, our Cadillac caught a flat. So now we need a new vehicle. So they take the truck that John Cena and his wife were originally in. John Cena went into the gas station. His wife was still in the car. So when they stole the truck, they kept her as, collateral for whatever reason. And they kidnapped her and kept her as a hostage. So that's where the movie starts. And John Cena is chasing them throughout the whole movie. John Cena chases them all and pretty much kills them one by one, and till he finally gets his wife back. Bro, when I tell you this movie is extremely stupid, I didn't think that this movie was going to be that bad. I thought it would be laughable at moments, and then have its moments where it's believable or it's understandable. There is nothing in this movie that makes sense. Nothing in this film. I was gonna do like a regular little review and summary. No, that's all you're getting. This is how the movie starts off. First of all, this looks like a DVD cover. Why are you posing this way like this? On the intro, on the credits, what are you doing? When I saw this, I already knew that we was finna be in for some bull crap. If they was behind it, you might have just had an ice cream panty match in this movie somewhere too. So here's his team. They're captured, they're in here, and the enemies have them. John Cena is outside of the room talking audibly, talking out loud, audibly where anybody could hear him. And he's talking to his commander saying, "Hey, I want to go in, I want to save these guys." They tell him, "No, we're going to wait for support." He tells them, we don't have time for that. So he makes his move, throws a guy through the door. Then he comes in like this. Now your team is held hostage, and this is how they're standing. This is how they're seated. They're held hostage. You don't want to just come into the room just throwing bullets like this, and you possibly hit one of your team. Then there's a part where everybody starts returning fire on him, so he takes cover behind a pillar, comes out of cover, and shoots a flamethrower. And I'm trying to figure out how no one shot him. Like, how are you not dead? You come out of cover and everybody got a gun trained on you. Everybody. And you come out of cover and flamethrow somebody immediately after the flamethrower. Like, one thing about the action sequences in this film is everything is really close, and just they cut everything really short. So you catch everything in mid-action, so you really can't tell what's happening. You just know stuff is happening. Literally. Seconds after he flamethrows someone, a guy runs up with a knife. Another guy runs up with a flaming stick. This guy runs up barehanded. We went from everybody having guns to now everybody choose to do melee weapons. This guy runs up with a knife. This guy over here begins to shoot, but he, John Cena pulls out a pistol just in the nick of time to shoot him. There's another guy running up, and this guy's literally on fire. John Cena grabs him, throws him through a wall, throws a flaming person who was running towards John Cena through a wall. Another guy with another flaming stick. John Cena kneels down to his team, rescues him, and say, "Ready to go home?" And it was at this moment when I realized, bro, I hate this movie already. So they get, he frees them and they're come running down the hallway getting ready to leave the building. And I'm not a military expert, but I wouldn't do this. You guys are in a hallway, all facing the same way, all running the same way. This just screams choke point. And nobody's watching this. No one's watching the rear, no one's watching the peripherals, none of that. Everybody's just running down the hallway, all bunched up together. And it just didn't seem right to me. They get closer to the end of the tunnel and towards the exit, and it's just chaos outside. It's a gunfight going on outside. There's a bunch of guys shooting and blowing up stuff. Guys shooting upwards at looks like the support that they sent through. I'm guessing this is like a MiG or something like that. These guys are flying around, dropping bombs on these guys, blowing up stuff. And I'm like, how are y'all sending in support units to do all this and you haven't even confirmed the location of these guys yet? This guy says, how are we gonna get around these guys? John Cena says, we're not. We're gonna go through them. Needless to say, he was dishonorably discharged from the military. He comes home, and what is his cab? What is the number on this cab? 1340566. You might have just threw a 2 in there and called it a day. Threw a 2 and a 7 in there. This is so, the amount of creativity with that number was so lazy. They was just like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but just leave the 2 out. Come on, bro. So here we are in this diamond or this jewelry store scene. This guy walks into the place and tells everybody to get down and don't look up at me. Keep your eyes down. Don't make any eye contact. But you've walked into this establishment with your face out. So, I mean, they could have already looked at you already. This lady, she getting a real good look at him. And this is how they're holding up this jewelry place. And then they got Monica from Friends to join in on them. So they got Chandler, they got Monica. Come on, bro. Like, they fit see Joey and Ross. What's going on here? And of course, they got the bad guy being typical. He want to come into the jewelry store so he can steal diamonds. And it was just like, bro, when I say the most two-dimensional bad guy or villain, I guess in this case. So they had a lot of guys, inside guys working in on his job with them, on his heist with them. And the guy tells him right before he's leaving the room, hey, you want to, try to rough me up a little bit, make it look believable for the cameras. This guy turns around and is like, I got an idea for you, and shoots him. I say, now that's believable. One thing I noticed too was when he shot him, they did a close-up on the casing. And that has to be the biggest casing in the history of bullet casings. Look at how huge this is. It don't look like a bullet. It looks like a trash can with smoke. Why is this thing so huge? They come out of the room still in the diamonds, and I'm assuming that this is the manager or the owner, or he looks like he's one of the, the verification guys who can tell if it's real or not. He's not only not on the ground, but standing up, looking at everyone, making eye contact. When they just told everybody, get on the ground and don't make eye contact. He served no purpose. He's literally just stood there. Then they walk out. After going in there, holding everybody up, shooting a very audible gunshot, they just walk out. This guy goes into his trunk, pulls out a automatic rifle. Here comes the police. And so his idea was, I'm going to start shooting him. As he's shooting him, this guy pulls out a rocket launcher. What was catching me was these guys come out of there and one police unit shows up. But with a usual case like this, you're going to get at least 4 squad cars. depending on what the establishment is and when the call was made, who made the call. This boy pull out a rocket launcher, aims and shoots the rocket launcher. Now, the police car has fire coming from underneath it. And last time I checked, that's not how rocket launching works. You're not gonna shoot a rocket launcher towards the side of a vehicle and then flames come from underneath, propelling it into the air. And then this guy is just standing right in front of the flames, and he looked like a young Donald Trump. After the police car explodes in front of everybody, hundreds of witnesses, because there's people outside, he's walking slow. Now, keep in mind, the store that they robbed was here. The car that they was parked in was right outside the store, right by the store. He goes into the trunk, pulls the gun out, walks a few steps ahead of the car, starts firing his weapon. They blew the car up, so he turns around. Somebody in his group got into the driver's seat of the car, drove the car down toward where he was, hit a whole U-turn in the middle of the street, pulled up right next to him, and instead of him getting into the passenger seat, he gets into the driver's seat. It just didn't make sense what they were doing right here. Like, you got into the driver's seat, pulled down the street to hit a U-turn to scoot over to let him into the driver's seat, when he could just simply turn back and just walk back a few steps and got into the car and got into the driver's seat. Bro, this film, when I say it don't make any sense, it's so much stupidity in this film. Now they're at this sort of corporate building, this business tower corporate building. This boy is reading a Men's Health magazine. And is that Usher Raymond on the front cover? But I couldn't help but notice how dingy this phone he holding is. How old is this phone? The loud and belligerent boyfriend and his goons are downstairs, and they get into a scuffle with the security guards. And the security guard, instead of just being professional and letting it go, decides he gonna take matters into his own hands and swing on the guy. And they get engaged into this whole fight scene. Look at how he swings. Immediately after he swings, one of his boys try to kick John Cena like this. First off, it's broad daylight outside. Everybody can see this. When I tell you the action sequences on this movie are so annoying, because immediately after he did this kick, a guy ran up behind John Cena and smashed a vase over his back. Immediately, he turns around, and this is the guy trying to punch him. He punches straight up into the air, making it real easy for John Cena to block it and uppercut him. And I know you see that table behind him. I know you see it. Yeah, we all saw it. We knew what was finna happen. Look at how this table just exploded from him landing on it. This is how it looked. This is the end result. So the loud and belligerent boyfriend runs up on John Cena again. John Cena grabs him and throws him through the window. And from what it looks like, that window was extremely thin. That is extremely thin, yo. This particular brand of beer had to have been a product placement. When I say this beer shows up numerous times throughout this film, they plug this beer in this film so many ways. So the guys that end up robbing the jewelry store, they just come to what looks like a swanky hotel or a loft or penthouse, and they're chilling. Him and this girl. Ain't no cops chasing you. Millions of people saw you. No one saw where you went, saw where you drove off to. They just chilling. In this part, she asked him, you know what, do you think we were drawn to attention to ourselves? You think we did a little too much? It is a fine time to ask that, bro. Y'all been planning to jack these diamonds for millions and millions of dollars. Y'all didn't think about, you know what, let's not draw attention to ourselves. We gonna ask that now? This was confusing. So she ended up taking her pants off and all that. He's on the phone and walks away. Walked out of the room and walked onto the balcony on the phone. In this phone conversation, he basically tells this guy, I want to get these diamonds to you so that you can actually turn these diamonds in for money for me. And the guy was just like, nope, you gotta meet my demands, or you gotta meet my time frames and this and that. He told him on the phone, I have the diamonds, so I have the power. And I'm just like, bro, this is the most generic criminal activity in the world. Now, this was a little confusing. So the guy, the security co-worker of his, dropped him off at home. And it was confusing that these guys didn't have to fill out a report. They didn't have to meet up with law enforcement. Like, you got into a physical altercation and damaged property at your job. Damaged a vase, threw a guy through a window. There's no lawsuit y'all had to deal with or anything like that. Y'all just came home and fist bumped? Nah, B. I worked in the security field. You not finna just be coming home. Nah. There's so much reporting you got to do after that event. So he gets in and she's like, how's work? He's like, work is work. And then she immediately turns it on the news, and it's precisely at this moment. Who caught this camera angle at the job? I get it, they started fighting, so somebody could have had their phone out, but bro, this camera angle was impeccable. This dude annoyed me through the whole film, bro. But there was some parts in here where he kept referring to rock candy, and he kept acting like really fearful about it, like he was traumatized by it or something like that. And it was so forced and out of place, and the payoff on it was so cringy. This dude offered him some rock candy and he just froze up like, no, I can't have rock candy. Remember the last time? And it was like, oh yeah. And what are y'all talking about, bro? He's basically having a conversation with him about a vehicle that he ended up letting him get. And he was looking for another vehicle for this next job. And he told him, all right, your vehicle for this next job is going to be this minivan. He looks at it and tells him, I'm a black man. Black men don't drive minivans. And I was just like, I personally don't like minivans, but where did that thought process come from? Just because you black man that you can't drive a minivan? So that night when John Cena gets back to his house from his job, his wife was like, you know what? Let's go on a vacation. We've been at home a whole lot. Let's go on a vacation. We need to get away. So it was like, all right, bet. And they plan on going somewhere. They got the truck loaded up and they're stopping at a gas station to, I'm guessing, grab some gas and some snacks before the trip. John Cena walks. She sticks her head out of the car and says, nice butt. John Cena says, what? Nice butt. What? Bro, when I tell you, I was so angry at myself for allowing myself to watch this film. And then she sticks her head back into the car. Like the worst flirting in film history. In the history of filmage. Then John Cena walks right past, by tremendous coincidence, right past this idiot. Goes into the gas station. There goes one of the other ladies in his organization. This guy is up front reading, a magazine. And this has to be the fanciest gas station attire in the history of gas stations. These cops pull up, and this is the car they pull up in. So I automatically knew that these cops were gonna die as soon as I saw this car pull up. Look at how crooked the lights on the top look. So they pull up and he walks up to the criminal guy and just starts sparking a small talk conversation. And they're just talking, not talking about anything incriminating or sensitive information, just small talk. The black guy walks up for no reason at all, pulls out a gun and shoots the cop broad daylight just because they were having a conversation. And I was not understanding the logic. If you're a criminal organization and you don't want to draw attention to yourself, have the conversation, be cool, play it cool, and be done with it. But you walk up at a gas station, which I'm assuming had cameras everywhere, with a gun and shoot the cop. So everybody who's inside, they get alert. She draw the weapon on the cashier. For what reason? John Cena hears what's going on out there, comes running full speed out of the gas station. The criminal that's inside hears him running, grabs the fire extinguisher, and knocks him out cold. I'm talking about flattens bro with that fire extinguisher. Outside, the other cop that's still in the car, the main criminal, he starts firing at him, and for some odd reason the movie wanted to showcase the bullets in slow motion, but he wasn't doing anything cool. He was literally just shooting, and it just showcased these bullets in slow motion and showcased the 45 millimeter symbol on the bottom of it. So he didn't end up killing that cop. He just injured him pretty bad, and the cop just kind of went unconscious. So they realized they got a chance or a quick window to go ahead and get out of here and leave this area. She turns to leave, and then she has this look of regret on her face. Like, crap, I forgot I was in a stupid movie. Turns around and shoots the store clerk. And I'm like, I don't understand y'all. What is y'all goal? What is y'all purpose? Through all this stuff going on, everybody shooting people for no reason and all this crap, they catch a flat on their car. Their car catches a flat. So some kind of way throughout all the shooting that took place, these guys managed to catch a flat on their Cadillac. Instead of just changing the tire, they decide, we're gonna go ahead and steal that truck over there, which belonged to John Cena. John Cena's still inside, knocked clean out. So they like, grab the truck. So they rush over to it. His wife is still in the truck. So she panics trying to scramble. One of the criminals show up to this front door, scares her like this. I kid you not, that's how his face looked when he pulled up to the window. Like, this dude was irritating me so bad, yo. They get the truck, and instead of just driving off, he decides, I want to blow up the gas station, and shoots one of the gas tanks and sets the entire gas station on fire. And I'm thinking to myself, man, what a waste. Because them gas prices is nice. John Cena finally wakes up once the place is in flames and exploding. This explosion happens, and amazingly enough, it doesn't kill him. He gets up and goes running to get to the police car so he can chase after them. Like, John Cena make me so mad in this film with just the faces he made, with just how big and just how bulky and goofy he looked. Make me so angry, yo. So he gets in a police car, he's chasing after these bad guys. Well, now this is confusing because there's a part where he kicks out the windshield of the cop car. Because the cop car was shot up, the windshield was shot up. He takes the nightstick and he knocks it out and kicks the windshield out. But in his chase scene, it looked like he got his windshield back. But then in this particular angle, it shows that he doesn't have it anymore. How is it that somebody who doesn't have a windshield, who's not shooting at you right now, you're not able to hit this person accurately? When I tell you that they shot this car up so many times and not one bullet grazed John Cena, this boy leans out of the car like this, starts shooting his gun. John Cena picks up a bulletproof vest, I kid you not, and blocked the shots by holding up a bulletproof vest. Look at this car. I'm trying to figure out this. How are y'all able to shoot up all of this car this way, and you can't get one round just to graze this boy shoulder? Then they continue to chase and they go running through a construction site. I kid you not, I didn't know if I was watching The Marine or Dukes of Hazzard. This boy literally runs into a tractor and it just completely takes off all of the upper half of the car. He ducks down in time and now he got a convertible. This car has been shot to pieces, chopped in half, and still running. And they still haven't managed to get a shot off on this boy. Here they go shooting again. So in this scene here, they've stopped their truck and John Cena is driving at them full force. And for some odd reason, I don't know why, they are unable to shoot this guy. I mean, he has no covering, nothing covering him. There's no windshield, nothing. And they still can't get one shot off on this boy. His car catches fire, driving full speed. Instead of crashing into them, he hits like the front end and like flips and ends up like jumping the car over a cliff. The car goes flying. These guys lean out of the car to shoot the car while it's mid-air. And I mean, he's getting all type of good shots off on the bottom portion of this car. John Cena, some kind of way, is able to leave and exit the car and fall out of the car like this. There is nothing about this that says, I'm going to survive this. Nothing. Also, they shot up the car thinking that they got him or killed him, because they saw the car burst into flames. Y'all didn't see this big old man fall out of this car? I told you they had the whole cast of friends in this movie. That's Joey. I don't care what none of y'all say. And I just don't understand none of these guys' point, their end game, their plan, their idea. Right now, y'all done caused all this ruckus in this same truck. And now y'all some over here and the tires bent, so you ain't going nowhere. And y'all pulling guns out on each other, y'all fighting each other, y'all in the middle of the woods. What is y'all plan? What are y'all trying to accomplish? So a cop finally pulls up on the scene long after the criminals then walked off. Pulls up on the scene, John Cena shows up. And I'm gonna assume that he fell into some water, or either he changed his shirt and put on a dark gray shirt. These guys are walking through the woods, through the swamp. They physically knocked out one of the hostages, so now they gotta carry her around. Then there's a part, I kid you not, where he pulls a gun out on one of the guys, then the leader pulls a gun out on him, then the leader turns the gun to the same guy he pulled a gun out on and shoots him. And I'm like, bro, what is going on? What is this film supposed to be doing? What are y'all trying to do? Nothing that these dudes are doing makes any sense. None of it is connected to diamonds. What are y'all trying to accomplish? I kid you not, this dude right here is standing in the water. He's standing up in the water. And this guy next to him is in a scuba gear, full scuba gear, jumps up and dives in the water. I mean, and there's like, what are you even gonna see in this water? Look how dirty this water is. What are we finna find? This boy literally jumped up in the air and dived into the water. He can literally stand up in it. I thought that was hilarious. And then here's John Cena a few minutes later, and his shirt is completely dry. I get it, the heat maybe, but you're running, you're sweating, you're nervous, you're anxious. Your shirt ain't finna dry up this good within that short amount of time. So John Cena chased and tracked these criminals all the way to this lodge. They get into this huge fight scene, causing another explosion. He had to jump out of a burning house just to dive into this water here, because that had to happen. Police officer shows up and tells him, get out of the water. So he obeys him, he gets out of the water. Police walks up, draws a gun on him. If you are a police officer, military, anybody of any professional status, and you deal with firearms, you will never see them hold the gun this way. I've never seen a police officer in any professional line of work holding a gun this way. Now, the amount of distance that he has on him, that's good distance. That's a good distance where you have enough reaction time. You know, just talking combat, just talking tactics. You want to create amount of distance where you get a good shot on him, but he's not too far away where you could lose that shot. You don't want to be too close where he can catch an angle on you and disarm you some sort of way, and you become compromised. So this is a good amount of distance, but I've never seen nobody hold their gun this way. You know, and especially if they're professionals. Puts the gun away, walks up on him slowly to arrest him, and of course John Cena gets the upper hand on him, and he's on the ground arrested. Just that fast. John Cena steals his boat. So the criminal and the girl are in the car, and she's taking a look at the diamonds and just sort of, taking a look at them. These diamonds, like they're from the beauty supply store or something like that. These look like some cheap $1 earrings. Then for no reason at all, she decides she want to climb on top of him while he's driving the car. And I'm like, bro, he's driving the car. What are we doing? Everybody keep doing stuff that don't make sense. So they're like, we need to get rid of this police car. So they pull the police car over, and then there's a trucker driving down the street that they see, and they want to steal his truck. Also, even if he wasn't driving the truck, he could have been at the park, chilling on a park bench, reading a book. I would have automatically assumed he was a trucker just from the everything about him. Shirt, the hat. So she decides to hitchhike to get his attention. Fellas, if you are driving and you see a young lady doing this on the side of the road, you need to drive faster. You do not pull over. You do not stop. You do not ask any questions. You drive. She gets up and robs him, steals his truck. Shoots him, as a matter of fact. Shot this boy stole his truck. Y'all just keep causing trouble on top of trouble on top of trouble. It's nighttime. John Cena is still in the boat and he got the lights on for whatever reason. And the location of the marina that he's meeting up at is the exact same location and marina that they're driving up in the semi. John Cena gets out of the boat, starts running on foot because he recognizes his wife inside of the truck, jumps on top of whatever this is, and jumps in the air to land onto the semi. So in this scene here, he's on side of the truck and he's holding on strong, and they're just driving through random like structures trying to knock him off. And of course, nothing is working. They finally drive through this particular structure, and yep, that did it. John is tired. After all this bullcrap you done been doing and been through, this is what did it. So they got him to fall off of the truck, so they're good. He's driving and can't drive and drives straight into flammable objects, like just straight into it. Didn't go to the side, nothing like that. Didn't lose control. Just drove straight into these flammable barrels. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, what is your plan? Nobody has a plan. Everybody's just doing stuff. Nobody has any kind of tactical plan, structured plan, nothing. What are we doing? Why are we driving through flames? Then he looks at the girl, because they got the wife inside the semi, handcuffed to the bar inside the semi. They've been keeping her as a hostage for like collateral or whatever the case is. He turns to her and says, "Gotta go, baby," and jumps out of the truck. The truck is still going and is heading towards water, and she's trying to hurry up and get out of there and fight her way out. But even as it's like heading towards the water, it's still hitting these flammable tanks and barrels, and I'm just not understanding, how has the truck itself not blown up with these two huge fuel tanks probably on the side of it? How has it not exploded yet? John Cena's running after the truck as well because he's trying to get to her and save her. Some kind of way, the criminal is posted up waiting for John Cena with a stick, hits him in the leg, and then these two have their whole fight scene. The truck runs through a building that's exploding and falls into the water, and now she has to try and get out because she's handcuffed inside the truck underwater, so she gotta hurry up and get out, and she's running out of air, running out of room. John Cena is still trying to get to her, still being determined to try to get to her and save her. This guy still has all kind of time on his hands, punches him, then reaches up, grabs a sledgehammer and swings it, hits him in the rib cage. Some kind of way, John Cena is still going. Then he puts down the sledgehammer, picks up a chainsaw. I'm like, is he just finna grab a whole bunch of random objects and just be beating this dude with it? Because that was kind of like the most entertaining part of the movie. Grabs a chainsaw. John Cena picks up a monkey wrench or some sort of wrench and blocks the chainsaw from hitting him. But my thought process is this: if you are blocking a chainsaw like this with a wrench, chainsaw is right here. If it slips and come down, it's for to catch all of this, your chest, your abdomen, your groin, all of this area. Hey, look at this. The chainsaw was right there. He's blocking it up top. All he has to do is slide the chainsaw down and John Cena is over with. The movie is done. Some kind of way that doesn't happen. John Cena ends up gaining advantage on him and knocks him out, throws him into a bunch of barrels, flaming barrels, so he should be dead. John Cena goes to try to rescue his girlfriend, and of course the building has to explode again, and John Cena has to jump from a flaming building into water once again. When I say I am so tired of this film, look at this, bro. I'm so done. He gets into the water, managed to save her, and he jumps away from the exploding building into the water, saves her, and then walks back towards the exploding building to try to revive her. When I say they literally made this scene just so it could look cool, because you just left this building and jumped and dived into the water just so you can save her and come right back up here. He lays her down, does CPR, and they gotta be real dramatic in the background with the flames. But my thing is this: why would you lay her down next to 2 barrels sitting next to a huge flame? Then another explosion goes off in the background. Like, they just had to make this scene look so cool. But none of this makes any logical sense. And of course she comes to, she's like, cough, cough. And she finally comes to. John Cena smiles and he's just like, huh, you're okay. You survived this stupid movie with me. Everything's gonna be okay. And then this guy shows up. Again, my question is always the same. What is your plan? I don't understand how we got here and why we're here. You were in a city in South Carolina or North Carolina. You walked into a diamond store and stole millions of dollars worth of diamonds. Why are we here? This was all your fault. You look like this burnt strawberry strudel because this is your fault. You had no plan. Now you got a chain wrapped around John Cena's neck and you look like this. This is what happens when you fail to plan. John Cena, of course, he ended up defeating the guy, and he turns back to his girlfriend, who is still laying down on the ground, and they share a kiss. When I tell you, I hate this movie so badly. Listen to me when I say this. There is no reason that you would ever need to watch this film. None. This film is so stupid. It is so bad. I don't want to watch this movie, but I want my wife to feel the pain that I felt. So me and her are going to sit down, pour a couple of cold drinks, and we going to watch this film together as well. But boy, when I tell you, this was bad. Oh my gosh. That was another episode of What's That About? This movie was so many things that was going on. When you decide to, if you haven't already, watch this film, you'll see everything that I'm talking about. It is terrible. Completely. It's not even an enjoyable action film. It's just stuff exploding and unanswered questions. Literally, that should have been the title of the film. That is it for this video, you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you like this kind of content, let me know in the comment section, and we'll see if we can crank out some more videos like this. Until next time. Peace.